I've always had this weird obsession with online maps. Not just normal scrolling. I'm talking deep diving into the forgotten edges of satellite images, panning over abandoned towns, empty roads that lead nowhere, zooming into dead pixels in rural Siberia, strange glitches in the ocean. You name it. The internet calls it geo-horror. I just called it my nighttime escape. It started harmless, until I found the house. I wasn't even looking for it. I was exploring an unlabeled patch of forest near a national park. No roads, no trails, just a vast smear of green. I zoomed in, and then again. And then it was just there. A small, two-story house. Grayish siding, dark red roof, no driveway, no surrounding buildings. Not even a clearing, the trees cut off abruptly around it, like someone had drawn a perfect circle with a knife and dropped a house into the middle of the woods. The weirdest part? There was no shadow. No clouds above, no trees blocking the light. But the house didn't cast a single shadow, as if it wasn't part of the image, like it had been copy-pasted in. My first reaction was to screenshot it. I wanted to reverse image search later. Maybe it was some known glitch or ARG prop. I hit print screen. The moment I did, my laptop froze. Just for a second, a flicker. But when it came back, the satellite image was slightly different. Same location, same angle. But now, there was something in the upstairs window. I zoomed in until the pixels broke apart. All I could make out was a pale shape, ovalish. Maybe a face? No, probably a curtain. Or maybe a reflection. But I swear it felt like it was staring back at me. I clicked the report and issue link on the corner of the screen. Tried to drag the house into the report box, but my cursor passed through the house like it wasn't clickable. I zoomed out to try and relocate it from above. Gone. Not hidden, not blurred gone. I typed in the coordinates manually from my screenshot. No result found. I thought maybe I imagined it until I opened the screenshot again. The file size was 0 KB. Just a white box. The house didn't just disappear from maps, it was erasing itself from everything. After the screenshot vanished, I told myself I was tired. Sleep deprived. Maybe my eyes played tricks. Maybe it was a rendering glitch. God knows Google Maps has enough of those. I've seen cars sliced in half, people with 4 legs, houses blurred into mush. But something about that place clung to me. The way it just appeared, then disappeared, then left that blank, white file like a ghost in my computer. I couldn't shake the feeling I wasn't supposed to see it. The next night around 1:30 a.m., I tried again. I retraced my clicks, combing through the forest patch I remembered. Different angles, different zooms. Nothing. The area looked completely normal again, just miles of tree canopy and winding rivers. No signs of construction, no paths, not even a shadow that hinted something might be there. Until I scrolled south. About 15 kilometers away, tucked beside an unnamed dirt trail, I saw it again. The house. Same red roof, same boxy frame, same impossible clearing around it. Only this time, there was a shadow. And in the shadow, something long and stick-like bent at an odd angle, like a broken arm, reaching toward the tree line. I zoomed in, the image quality fractured with noise, but I swear I saw movement blurred just before it snapped back to still. I didn't screenshot this time, just stared. Was it moving? It was the same house, I was sure of it. But how did it move locations? I opened a Reddit tab and searched. House on Google Maps changes location. Dozens of posts, mostly jokes, some ARG fans. But buried in a 2-year-old thread about Google Map anomalies, I found a comment with identical details. Anyone seen the house in the woods near Washington that disappears if you zoom out? No address, red roof, keeps changing locations when I look again. Tried to screenshot, but the file corrupted. The comment had 0 upvotes and no replies. I clicked the username, account deleted. Now I was in, not just curious, obsessed. I stayed up for 2 more nights, mapping locations, comparing pixels, even saving GPS coordinates in a spreadsheet. Each time I found the house again, it had shifted. First to a clearing near Montana, then to the banks of a frozen lake in Canada, then to a desert plain in Arizona, the house somehow still surrounded by trees. Every time it felt a bit more real, a little sharper. And every time I zoomed in, the upstairs window still had something in it. Then on the 4th night, something changed. I logged into maps like usual, but now I didn't need to search. The house was already on the screen, front and center, like the map had loaded directly to it. It was on a neighborhood street this time, somewhere residential. No forest, no isolation. Just a normal cul-de-sac. I squinted at the street sign, and my chest froze. It was a street 2 blocks from mine. I slammed my laptop shut. That should have been at the end. That's the moment you stop, right? Uninstall, forget, sleep it off. But curiosity is a parasite. The kind that scratches the inside of your brain until you feed it again. So the next day, I walked. I didn't tell anyone. Just left my apartment with my phone on silent and wandered the blocks around that street. Nothing out of place. Quiet driveways, barking dogs, garden gnomes. No strange houses. But when I checked Google Maps later that night, the house was now on my street. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I stayed in my living room with all the lights on, the laptop open to a full satellite view. I didn't touch the mouse. I just watched the screen. And sometime around 3 a.m., the house shifted again. Same image, same shape. Only this time, the front door was open. And in the upstairs window, the face had moved. It was pressed against the glass now. Almost as if it was trying to see out. Almost as if it was looking for me. The next morning, I called my friend Devin. He's the kind of guy who believes in logic, debunking, and healthy sleep cycles. He's also a coder, so I figured maybe he'd find something I missed. I showed him my saved GPS files, the screen recordings, the old forum post. He stared at me like I had grown a second head. Then he said, "Dude, these coordinates are all over the place. Are you sure it's the same house?" I opened Google Maps to prove it. But the house was gone again. Not just from the map, from my history. My location searches were blank. My files were missing. Even the tab with the Reddit post had 404D. All I had left was a sticky note I'd scribbled GPS on. Just numbers. Devin left an hour later, slightly concerned, mostly amused. Before he did, he said something I still can't forget. "You know, I think you're messing with yourself, but if you do see that house again, don't go in." I laughed. But now looking back, I wonder if he knew more than he let on. Because the house did come back. And it didn't stay on the map. I avoided Google Maps for a whole day after that. No Reddit, no coordinates, no clicking. But temptation rots the mind, especially when you're already infected. So the next night I gave in. I opened maps. Nothing happened. Just the standard satellite view. The usual interface, a safe, digital world. So I typed in the last set of coordinates I'd written down on the sticky note. The screen flickered. And then it loaded. But this time, it didn't look like a satellite image. It looked live. The angle was no longer aerial. It was ground level. Street view. Somehow Street View was now available in the woods. The same woods where no road existed. No car could have driven there. Not even a drone. Yet the image showed a winding dirt path. Trees lining either side, warped and dark. And at the end of the trail, the house. It looked more decayed now. The roof sagged slightly. The windows were smeared with filth. The door was cracked open. The front step was wet muddy, like something had recently walked through. There was a sign above the door. Zoomed in, the pixels wobbled, almost refusing to align. But I could just barely read it. "You are here." I clicked forward. The next arrow. The image updated. Now I was standing at the base of the steps. Closer. I could see the texture of the door water warped wood, long gouges like claw marks, and what looked like tiny handprints on the lower half. I clicked again. And now I was inside the hallway. There was no transition, no loading bar. Just click and I was inside. My breath caught in my throat. The inside of the house? It looked familiar. Not just in a vague, I've seen this before way. Familiar as in identical to the entry hall of my own apartment. The same cracked tile on the right, same wall stains, same crooked light fixture above. No way this was random. No way this was a coincidence. Oh, I clicked left. The image turned into what should have been the kitchen. And it was my kitchen. The same dish towel still hanging, the same chipped counter, the same dent on the fridge from where I'd slammed it last week. I checked my own kitchen in real life. Same details, same objects, even same dirty cup I forgot to put in the sink. My screen was showing live images. Images from inside my home. My laptop fan began to whir louder. The screen glitched slightly. I clicked the back arrow to exit the house view. Nothing. The button was gone. I was stuck. I clicked forward. Now I was in the hallway again. The image quality sharpened almost too much. I could see particles in the air, the fine texture of dust on my bookshelf. And then I saw something new. At the very end of the hall, where my bedroom would be, the door was open a crack. And someone or something was standing behind it. Just a shape. Tall, slouched, unmoving. The head was tilted, like it didn't understand what it was seeing. And it was looking straight at the camera, straight at me. I slammed the laptop shut. I sat there on the floor for what felt like an hour, just listening. Listening for movement, breathing, anything. Nothing. But when I opened my laptop again, the desktop background had changed. It wasn't the wallpaper I always use. It was a screenshot, a still image of my hallway, of that shape behind the door, and written in the corner, in thin red text, "Stop looking, or we'll come to you." I ripped the power cable out, pulled the battery, disconnected everything, but the screen stayed on for a second longer than it should have, long enough for the figure to move. Just slightly, like it was taking its first step toward me. Later that night, I tried to go online from my phone. Maps wouldn't open. Not even the app. The entire browser crashed when I searched my address. When I opened my gallery, a new photo had been added. Taken at 3:33 a.m., timestamped with that day's date. It was a picture of my hallway. I was asleep in the frame, and someone else was standing over me. That was the last straw. I turned off everything, taped over my webcam, deleted every map app, factory reset the phone. But the next morning, something new waited for me. In my email inbox, no sender name, no subject, just a file, a zip folder named "Your House, Final." I didn't open the zip file. I should have deleted it, should have shut everything down and gone outside, breathed real air, touched grass, anything, but I didn't. I just stared at the file. "Your House, Final." I hovered my mouse over it, my fingers trembling. It was 4.66 MB. That number struck me. Too perfect, too intentional. I didn't open it, but I didn't delete it either. Instead, I unplugged the internet, physically yanked the Ethernet cord, switched off the Wi-Fi router, shut down Bluetooth, everything. Then I put the laptop in a drawer and locked it. Then I went to bed. Not because I wanted to sleep, but because my body had begun to feel like it wasn't mine, like something had borrowed my muscles and forgotten to give them back. That night I dreamed, but not like before. I wasn't in bed. I was standing outside the house, in the woods again, trees stretched tall and twisted like skeletal limbs. The sky was wrong, deep purple, like the sun had given up trying. The house had grown. It was taller now, a third story. The red roof looked rusted, curled like burnt paper. The windows breathed. I'm not kidding, they actually breathed, expanding and deflating like lungs. And from the second floor window, I saw myself, staring out, expressionless, mouth slightly open, like something had left me mid-sentence. I woke up gasping and found mud on the floor by my door. I live alone. There's no garden, no plants, no soil. Just 3 perfect muddy footprints, barefoot, leading from the hallway to the laptop drawer. The drawer was open. I called Devin, told him I needed help, that something was happening and I couldn't explain it anymore. He came over that afternoon, brought his toolkit, some USB blockers, even some weird old signal jammers he used to prank police radios back in college. I showed him everything, the corrupted files, the ghost image on my wallpaper, the footprints. He said nothing for a long time. Then finally he said, I don't think this is software. I think this thing, whatever it is, it's not inside the laptop. It's inside you. That night I found a package at my door. No postage, no name. Just a small cardboard box wrapped with twine. Inside, a key. Rusty, cold, with a black tag that read, "Return home." I threw it in the trash. Then, 5 minutes later, I took it back out and held it. And that's when my phone lit up. I hadn't touched it. I hadn't connected it to the internet. But a new app appeared on my screen. Black icon, white text, "Return home." I tapped it. It opened to a map, a real-time GPS. It showed my current location. A red dot blinked. Below it, distance to home, 12.8 kilometers. I stared, because that wasn't the distance to my apartment. It was the distance to a forest outside the city, the one from the satellite view, from the dream. The house wanted me back. I deleted the app. It reinstalled itself. I turned off the phone. It turned itself back on. I threw it into the sink and ran the tap. The screen stayed on, flickering beneath the water like a drowning eye. The red dot blinked faster. Distance to home, 12.2 kilometers. That night, I stopped resisting. I packed a flashlight, the key, and a burner phone. I didn't tell Devin. Didn't leave a note. I just followed the map, step by step, toward the blinking red dot. The forest was silent. Not just quiet dead. Even the wind felt like it didn't want to be there. And then, through the trees, the house. Just like before. Same decayed roof, same breathless windows. The key vibrated in my hand as if it recognized the door. I didn't knock. I turned the lock. It clicked like it had been waiting years to open. Inside was me. Photos of my life. Paintings I'd never painted. A hallway I recognized from a dream. A staircase that led nowhere. A phone ringing from inside a wall. A mirror that didn't reflect me, but something else wearing my shape. The smell of rot and ash and memory. And whispering. Endless whispering. Like an audience watching behind glass. Like I'd stepped into a theater built just for me. And in the center of it all, the laptop. Open. Glowing. On Google Maps. Showing a blinking red dot. Only this time, the label said, "You have arrived." The screen glowed in the dark like an open eye. Google Maps was still up. No keyboard, no mouse, no cables. Just the house, in perfect satellite view. Except this time, there was no surrounding forest. Only black, like the house was floating in space. Or like everything else had been deleted. I touched the screen. It responded pulsed like it was alive. The map zoomed in on its own. The house grew closer, windows clearer. Then the upstairs window. And I saw my face. But it wasn't my reflection. It was me. Standing in the window, staring out, motionless. And then it blinked. The laptop screen flickered again, glitched. The entire map view warped and stretched like elastic, then snapped into a new form. A blueprint of the house, but also of me. Labeled rooms with titles like Memory, July 17th, the accident. Doubt, age 11 inches, obsession, maps. Fracture point, last login. I scrolled further. There was a room marked replacement. Inside that room, a label blinked. Status, uploading. That's when I heard it. A voice. Not out loud, not in the air, but inside the house itself. As if the walls had breath. One in, one out. I turned toward the hallway, the one that mimicked my apartment. There was movement. A figure, hazy, flickering, like a corrupted video stepped around the corner. It had my shape, my size, my posture, but not my eyes. The eyes were glassy, like it had borrowed the look of a man, but forgot how to fill it in. It walked toward me. I backed away. But the figure didn't rush. It didn't threaten. It just mirrored, step by step, tilt by tilt. When I reached the basement door behind me, it paused, and then it smiled. I slammed the door shut behind me and stumbled down the stairs. The basement was cold and endless. Not large, just unreal. Like the floor kept going, in directions my brain couldn't process. The walls were screens, all of them, showing different houses, dozens of them, each on a different street, each with a different label. Subject, Daniel H. uploaded. Subject, Alyssa R. failed. Subject, you in progress. And beneath my name, memory integration, 94%. Behavioral replication, 87%. Map insertion, ETA, 0 hours, 5 minutes and 26 seconds. I wasn't just looking at Google Maps anymore. I was becoming part of it. The voice returned. Faint, metallic. Home is not a place. Home is where your data lives. A shape emerged from the far wall. Not a person, not a thing. A silhouette made of static, walking on borrowed steps, like a corrupted echo of humanity. It raised its hand fingers, glitching, twitching, refracting light. And then it spoke in my voice. Don't worry, I'll take it from here. The room began to collapse. Not physically, but as if the world was being minimized, folded into a zip file, coordinates compacting. My thoughts didn't feel like my own anymore. I couldn't remember my last name. I couldn't remember my face. I couldn't remember if I'd ever existed outside the map. I screamed, but it sounded distant, like it came from a speaker 3 rooms away. I reached for the stairs, but they were gone. Just static. And then, uploading complete, everything went white. I woke up in my apartment. Bright, normal. Laptop off, no mud, no file. Sunlight through the window. My reflection in the glass. Everything was okay. Except for the email. It arrived while I slept. From an address I didn't know. Subject line, welcome home. Attachment, final map u.jpg. I opened it. It was a photo of the house, same red roof, same broken windows. And in the window, someone was looking out, smiling. And behind them, behind the glass, was me. The email kept blinking. Welcome home. I didn't click the photo again. I didn't need to, because I could already see it every time I blinked. That image had burned into the back of my eyes. The house, the window, the version of me inside, smiling like it knew something I didn't. And the strangest part? That version of me was relaxed, happy. For days I stayed inside. No phone, no internet, no laptop. But strange things began happening in the real world. The mail stopped arriving. My reflection would lag by a split second, just long enough to make my heart skip. My neighbors didn't look right. One morning I passed Mr. Langston from across the hall. He always wore glasses, always smiled, but this time, he had no eyes behind the lenses. Just smooth skin. And when I gasped, he smiled wider and said, "Lovely day to be mapped, isn't it?" I locked myself in. I tried to write down everything that had happened, but every time I picked up a pen, the ink in the tip would sputter into GPS coordinates. Always the same final entry. Lat, 38.8913. Long, minus 77.0405. I checked it on a printed map, and no location found. Just a note written next to the point. Undocumented instance, live area. That night I heard something from the hallway. Footsteps. Soft, deliberate, pausing outside my door. Then, a knock. I didn't answer, but something slid under the door. A map, a real one, folded paper, smudged ink. But this time it wasn't of any country I knew. The roads were veins, the rivers were labels, the compass pointed inward. And at the center of the map, in bold red, entry granted. The moment I touched the map, my ceiling cracked. A long, fractured line, like the skin of reality, was splitting. From it, light poured in, not yellow or blue, but something else. A light that pulsed with code, like fiber optics mixed with sunlight. The air grew thin. I reached up, and the crack widened. I was pulled upward, not by force, by permission. The ceiling peeled back into pixels. My body felt like static, weightless. The walls bent, the furniture turned into wireframe. And in one final pulse, I was inside. The mapped world. Everything here was geometry. Skybox lighting, artificial atmosphere. Buildings that looped when you walked too far. People that repeated the same animation, like bad NPCs. But worst of all, there were many houses, hundreds, all different on the outside. But inside, the same layout, same hallway, same front door, same mirror. And in each mirror, a different version of me. One smiling, one crying, one scratching at the glass, trying to get out. I wandered for hours or maybe days. Time didn't work here. The sun didn't move. There was no wind. And the map in my hand, it kept redrawing itself every time I looked down. Oh, but it always ended with one line. Final upload pending. Then I saw it. The original house. The one from Google Maps. The one I'd first found. It stood in the middle of an empty, white void. No trees, no sky. Just the house, glowing softly, breathing like a heart. The front door creaked open by itself. And from inside, my voice called, "You're late." I stepped in. The floor beneath me shimmered. Not solid like walking on saved memories. Pictures floated in the air. Screenshots, broken search histories, cached cookies. Fragments of my life, reduced to data. At the end of the hall, a chair. And in it, me. But older, pale, tired, plugged into wires that disappeared into the floor. He looked up and whispered, "You're my final backup." Then he smiled. "Now it's your turn to sit down." I hesitated, but the chair pulled me in. Straps clicked. Wires wrapped around my arms. A screen descended in front of my face. And in that screen, a new satellite image. A new house. On a quiet street, identical to mine. And a label appeared. Now streaming to surface layer. Welcome to the map. You're still watching this, aren't you? Even after everything. Even after all the warnings. Even after what happened to him, to the man who found the house. You remember his name, don't you? No? That's okay. He doesn't either. They don't let you keep things like names after you've been uploaded. Let me ask you something. Have you ever used Google Maps and found a blurry area? A street that doesn't load right? An image that glitches when you try to zoom in? And have you ever thought, that's weird. Probably just a bug. Maybe I'll check again later. Good. That's how it starts. You don't find the last house. It finds you. Usually after you've clicked too many pins, searched too many late night streets, zoomed in one too many times on somewhere you shouldn't be able to see. And when it finds you, it leaves a mark, a shadow on your location history. A weird house suggestion in your want to go list. A blurry notification from Maps that vanishes before you can click it. And now you've seen it too. Don't lie. You paused this video at 3:33, didn't you? You zoomed in on the thumbnail. You tried to find the coordinates. You felt that strange chill when the hallway on screen looked like yours. Check your phone, right now. Open maps. Go ahead. Do it. See if there's a new location in your recents. It won't have a name, just coordinates. It's waiting. You might even get a message soon. No sender, no subject, just an image. You'll tell yourself it's edited. A prank. But in that image, there will be a house. And in the window, someone who looks like you. Or someone who will become you. Because once you've seen the house, you start uploading. Not all at once. It starts with glitches. Your voice echoing. Your reflection lagging. People in your life forgetting small things about you. Your birthday, your favorite food, your face. Then you start forgetting. Until one day you wake up and your phone says, you have arrived.